Have you ever left a restaurant feeling seen? Like the team somehow anticipated what you wanted before you even asked? What if that feeling could be engineered on purpose, at scale, and applied to every business, not just fine dining? In this summary of Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara, we unpack how small, human moments can transform an ordinary transaction into a lifelong memory, and why that shift is not only meaningful, but wildly effective. Will Guidara grew up in hospitality and later led 11 Madison Park in New York City, a restaurant that climbed from struggling to world class. His book is not a chef's memoir. It is a playbook for anyone who serves other people, whether you run a cafe, lead a startup, or manage a team. It matters because every industry is crowded, and excellence alone is no longer enough. The organizations that will stand out are the ones that deliver extraordinary care, on purpose. The core idea is simple. Hospitality is how you make people feel, not just what you give them. When you push that idea to an unreasonable level, you create experiences that people cannot stop talking about. Let's break down the big lessons. First, one size fits one. In most businesses, we design systems for the average customer and hope they fit everyone. Unreasonable hospitality argues the opposite. Collect small details about the person in front of you and then tailor the experience to them. At 11 Madison Park, Will and his team practiced the art of noticing. They watched for clues in conversation and in body language, then acted on them immediately. The most famous example is the hot dog story. A table of out-of-town guests mentioned they had not tried a New York City hot dog. A fine dining room is not the place you expect one. But a member of the team ran outside, bought a street hot dog, and the kitchen dressed it beautifully. It was playful, unexpected, and deeply personal. Those guests received a story they would retell for years. That is the essence of one size fits one. You do not need a big budget. You need curiosity and a bias for action. To apply this, start a simple practice called collecting dots and connecting dots. Collect dots by listening for specifics, a favorite snack, a hometown team, a recent milestone. Connect the dots by turning that detail into a gesture. If you run a gym and a new member says they're training for a 10K, write a handwritten note with a route suggestion and a small pack of electrolyte tabs. If you lead a remote team and someone mentions their child's science fair, send a short good luck message the day before. These are not expensive. They are specific, and that is why they land. Second, invest 95% in excellence and 5% in magic. Will calls this the 95-5 rule. The 95% is non-negotiable. Your product must be great, your operations tight, your standards clear. But the last 5%, the unreasonable gestures, create emotional afterglow. Teams often get stuck because they think magic requires big budgets. It doesn't. A personalized welcome card, a favorite song queued up at just the right moment, a staff member walking a guest to the corner rather than pointing. These things cost almost nothing but feel like everything. In a hotel, the 95% might be clean rooms, quiet halls, and fast check-in. The 5% is the bedtime tea with a note that references the book the guest mentioned reading. At work, the 95% could be shipping a feature on time. The 5% is recording a 2-minute video showing the customer exactly how the update solves their problem, using their own words. To make this real, set a monthly 5% fund, even a tiny one, and empower everyone to use it without permission for a guest, a client, or a teammate. The ceiling is the team's imagination. Third, turn your people into dream weavers. Unreasonable hospitality is a team sport. You cannot deliver it if only the leader is empowered to act. Will describes teaching everyone, from hosts to servers to managers, to see themselves as creators of moments. That shift happens through rituals. Pre-shift meetings where the team shares one quick guest story, not to brag, but to teach what good looks like. A rolling record of guest preferences that is easy to capture and easy to use. Clear principles for when to say yes and when to escalate. And a culture that celebrates the attempt, not just the perfect win. Imagine a retail store where employees are encouraged to offer a free coffee to any customer who looks overwhelmed, and leadership tracks how often the offer is made, not just how often the customer accepts. Imagine a software company where support recs have a small discretionary budget to send a sticker pack or a coupon when they resolve a tough ticket. These practices turn staff from rule followers to storytellers. If you manage people, try one idea this week. In your next team huddle, ask for a moment of the day where someone noticed a small detail and acted on it. Applaud the courage, not the size of the gesture. Stories scale culture faster than directives. Fourth, be present and choose grace under pressure. Service can be scripted, but hospitality is a posture. It depends on your ability to stay calm, notice what matters, and respond with generosity. Will argues for standards with empathy. Standards give confidence. Empathy turns that confidence into connection. In the dining room, being present means you don't walk faster when the room is in the weeds. You slow down and make better eye contact. In a sales meeting, it means pausing to check in before diving into the deck. When things go wrong, grace is the move. Own the mistake, overcorrect with humility, and make sure the guest leaves with a better story than if nothing had gone wrong. A practical way to build presence is to create small pauses. Before opening the doors, ask the team to take 10 seconds and breathe. Before a call, write down the name of the person you are serving and one thing you want them to feel by the end. During conflict, ask yourself what the other person would write in their diary about this moment. That simple reframe often replaces defensiveness with care. Fifth, sell the dream by enrolling your partners. Unreasonable hospitality is not only front of house. In the 11 Madison Park journey, the partnership between the dining room and the kitchen was everything. The same is true in any business. The person who answers the phone, the engineer who fixes a bug, the delivery driver, they all contribute to the guest's memory. Leaders need to invite every function into the hospitality mission. Share not just the results, but the reactions. When your team hears the impact of a gesture, they'll look for chances to create their own. Create a simple feedback loop. After a standout moment, send a quick note to everyone involved with a short description of what happened and why it mattered. Include the line, "It made me feel," with the guest's words if you have them. In a vow house, that might look like celebrating a picker who noticed a birthday note on an order and added confetti to the box. In a marketing team, it could be praising the designer who rebuilt a deck overnight to include examples from the client's hometown. Enrollment grows when people see themselves in the story. Sixth, make it measurable so it becomes real. Feelings are hard to quantify, which is why many companies ignore them. Will suggests building simple metrics that encourage the right behavior. Track the number of personal gestures attempted per shift. Track the turnaround time for fixing a guest issue. Track the percentage of customers whose names you can recall on a return visit. Don't obsess over perfection. Use the numbers as conversation starters, then celebrate progress. Choose one or two indicators that fit your context. For a local cafe, measure how many regulars are greeted by name each morning. For a SaaS product, measure how many support tickets end with a thank you from the customer. When you measure the magic shows up more often. Seventh, honor your team with the same hospitality you give guests. A culture of generosity cannot flow out if it's not felt within. Will emphasizes celebrating wins loudly, coaching with kindness, and creating growth paths for everyone, not just stars. He also highlights the power of shared meals and rituals. In a high-pressure environment, a standing tradition like family meal creates a sense of belonging. In other businesses, that might be a weekly 10-minute appreciation circle or a monthly open mic where people tell the story of a guest they will never forget. To apply this, choose a low-cost ritual and make it consistent. End Friday with one shout-out per person. Start Monday by asking, who did you serve last week that you're proud of? Hospitality given to the team compounds into hospitality given to the world. Now, let's pull these ideas together with a simple arc you can use. Anywhere. First, notice one human detail. Second, act on it quickly with a small, specific gesture. Third, tell the story to your team so it multiplies. Fourth, measure a tiny signal so it sticks. Finally, repeat. Over time, you will build a reputation that becomes your moat. People will forgive small flaws when they trust your intent. They will choose you over cheaper options because you make them feel something that others do not. Before we wrap, consider a few common objections and how the book addresses them. Objection 1. We cannot afford this. Response: the best moments are not expensive, they are specific. A handwritten note beats a generic discount. Objection 2. We do not have time. Response: you do not need hours, you need presence. A 30-second walk to the door leaves a bigger mark than a 3-minute explanation from behind a counter. Objection 3. What if we get it wrong? Response: hospitality is iterative. When a gesture misses, apologize, learn, and try again. People rarely punish good intent. Objection 4. This only works in luxury. Response: it works anywhere because it is about feelings. A barista who remembers your usual order is practicing unreasonable hospitality as surely as a Michelin-starred server. The principle is universal. Let's summarize the key takeaways. Hospitality is not the same as service. Service is about accuracy and efficiency. Hospitality is about how you make people feel. One size fits one. Collect little details and turn them into personal gestures. The 95-5 rule. Invest almost everything in product and operations, but reserve a small, intentional slice for magic. Empower dreamweavers. Give your team permission and tools to act on what they notice. Then celebrate the attempts. Choose presence and grace. Slow down, make eye contact, own mistakes, and overcorrect with humility. Enroll every function. Back of house is front of house. Everyone contributes to the memory. Measure the magic lightly so it becomes a habit. And treat your team with the same hospitality you want them to give your guests. If this resonated, here is your call to action. Try one unreasonable gesture in the next 24 hours. Notice a detail, act on it, and watch what happens. If you want to go deeper, read Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara for more stories and tools. And if you're building a culture of service, check out related ideas on customer experience, leadership, and personal presence. Reflect on a moment when someone made you feel like the only person in the room. What did they do? And how can you recreate that for someone else today? The path to standing out is not just being better. It is being kinder, more observant, and a little unreasonable on purpose.